Welcome back to Esotericum. It is Wednesday, January 26th, where you are. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're having a good week. It's halfway through the week. It's raining here, but luckily the temperatures have gotten a little bit back to normal. So yeah, I was actually going to do this video a couple days ago, but I wanted to spend a little bit more time thinking about it and kind of preparing for it. So usually I have an idea, I'll kind of run through it in my mind and I'll hop on and kind of just give you my thoughts on it. Well, for this one, I just wanted to spend an extra couple days. So this is kind of my third book review-ish. Well, it's not comprehensive by any means, but I'm trying to share what I found valuable in my path and things that have worked for me, things that I know to be safe, and just kind of give you my thoughts on it. I mean, magic, rituals, occultism is still kind of a niche, controversial field. And so, yeah, I just kind of want to make this guide or just my thoughts on it. So if you are starting down this path or you're questioning spirituality, religion, what's going on in the world, I kind of add my voice to the many other good voices who are talking about this sort of thing, which takes a good deal of bravery, I guess. There's always kind of been this code of secrecy, and to some degree I can understand that, but sometimes it's important to tell people what you think. So that being said, tonight we are going to be talking about Damond Brand's The Gallery of Magick, Archangels of Magick. This is a masterpiece, and as you can see, my copy is well worn, it's used, it's bookmarked, it is a little dirty, so I have gotten so much use out of this. And we previously have talked about wealth magic, because I'm at the tail end of a 6.5-7 month ritual. So actually my last day of that is tomorrow, so I kind of wanted to give a field report on that. And then we went over magical protection, because I think protection is kind of the first bedrock and the most important thing it was for me in this journey. And next, where do we go? So this is really a manual of magic. This is really a comprehensive system. And for me and my practice, I wanted to go work with the archangels first, right? So I really wanted to, I come from a Judeo-Christian background. I felt a lot of trust, a lot of camaraderie with angels. I always believed in them. I always thought that they were real. And there is just something that is so powerful about this book. I mean, if you flip through the pages and the Hebrew, the sigils, the names, it has a special kind of vibrant goodness to it, if I can describe it any better than that. It is, it has a feeling like no other book that I have actually picked up, read, used, and it's, I just can't say enough good things about it. It goes through 12 archangels, basically 12 main archangels, and he kind of tells you why he chose these angels and why he's used certain names. 12 months in the year, there's a lot of different facets to the number 12. 12 disciples, I think 12 organ systems. So yeah, number 12, he goes through 12 main archangels, and what I like a lot about this book too is he gives you a good overview of the magical process, a little bit of background about who he is, some stories from his past that are really helpful, and he kind of gives you a very thorough understanding of the magical process, what you're actually doing step by step. And that is my dog, Spirit. She is very adorable. Yes, we love you. So he gives you, you get to kind of know who he is. He gives you a little bit of background. He goes through, exactly the mindset, the process, just a great overview of how to work practical magic, how to work magic that's safe, that's effective, and that's consistent. So I love about it. I mean, this book it's almost 300 pages, and it covers just about everything. And the way I looked at it is I wanted to go to, archangels first, because I wanted to build a relationship with them, because they have a special place in lore, just in the religions, just all, I felt they were safe. I felt I could trust them. I didn't decide to go to demons or jinn right away. I wanted to go to archangels. I felt a kinship, like I said, just a kind of a calling. And I'm very grateful that I did it that way. So basically, the first thing he'll do is kind of, introduce you to the archangels. He goes over which ones he chose, why he chose them. And then he does these things. He has this section of the book, which is basically like sigils of power. So it is the Archangel sigil with Hebrew around it. It's in big, bold, beautiful print. It just like jumps off the page. I mean, so many times during these rituals, you see lights, you see colors, you see shapes. It's just wild. So he goes through the archangels, and he basically, lists some of their powers, some of the things that they have been known to help with, or some of their abilities that they have been, they've been described. So he lists through the 12 archangels, and then he goes through a list of their powers. And the powers of archangels are different, I think, than a lot of other spirits, because they're very holistic. They're very positive. They're powers that aren't going to get you in trouble. Things that are not going to get you in trouble, like bring healing to old injuries, to clear your mind. Let's see, what else is another one? To find immediate solutions to complex problems. So basically things that are very white magic, right-hand path magic, very holistic, nothing too, needy, ego-based. So they're kind of powers that have to do with what a lot of people refer to as their higher self, or the best part of us. So they're kind of powers that affect that. So you're not going to be, hey, there's stuff that'll help with financial abundance, but it's portrayed and described in a way that it's not going to feel like you made a trade-off, or you're just going for the cheap money grab. It's things that will overall benefit you on every level. And that's kind of a theme throughout the book, is, the things that the archangels can do for you are things that are good for you overall, in every aspect. And a lot of people will describe archangels as kind of working slower. They kind of work on changing you into the best version, the version that deserves what you're asking for, as opposed to other spirits will kind of work in the external world, and will kind of do exactly what you ask, but it won't necessarily have been with your highest good in mind. I really feel like everything in this book is for your highest and greatest good, as well as for everybody. And when you're doing rituals like that, it adds, I believe, a good deal of power. So if you have your intention, you have your desire, you have your will, you want something to happen. When you want something to happen because it's good for you and it's good for everybody, you're not really going to encounter as much resistance, as many obstacles, because it's almost charged, where it's a no-brainer. It's good for you, it's good for everybody, no one loses, it's a win-win. Stuff like that seems to slide in and have more of an effect, at least from what I've discovered. So yeah, he goes through their main sigils of power, powers for each and every one of them, and so many different things that you can do here, so many different facets. Each archangel, you'll kind of get to know their personality, things, they have a kind of a certain flavor or a theme, and they really do have personalities. Archangels really do, in my opinion, in my experience, had distinct personalities that you can notice, pretty well, and you can start to kind of tell them apart. You'll get an overall feeling, sensations, visions, stuff like that. So pretty cool. So he does that, which is extremely useful. And then he also has sigils that are kind of combinations using different names of God, using different archangels. So then, you know, he has different combinations, different matchups. So there's a talisman to encourage persistence, and it uses certain archangels. There is, you know, to increase mental clarity. And so then you can also kind of see, what are these archangels when they're used in different combinations? What are the effects? How are they different? What, you know, how is one archangel contributing power to a solution and the other one kind of adding depth to it? So this would be worth the price of admission if that was just it. So much you can do there, so much you can work on. It like I said, it's a complete system. He goes through what he calls the circle of power, which is kind of his version of a banishing ritual, which is extremely powerful. Almost like he took the LBRP and he, you know, tells you why he thinks there's be some changes. He simplifies some aspects, he condenses some. So extremely powerful. It's one of the most powerful magical circles that I've ever used, and it's unique, and it's just so beautiful. It's almost like this book is almost like an orchestra, like a very well put together orchestra who just plays beautiful music again and again and again. Nothing bad here. Overall, it's just a very light, very powerful, very positive, very life-affirming book. Okay, yeah, so then after that, he goes into advanced calling, kind of different things where you're using almost like you're calling them in a specific order, all to work on a problem. And so he goes into some more complicated, in-depth combination rituals. You know, he goes into a divination ritual if you have a problem that you need to figure out. And there's slightly different magical processes and thought processes and words of power and ideas in each section, so you can really kind of see, okay, what are we really capable of? What is a human being capable of who is aligning their mind, their heart, their will, all those things. And you can kind of start to see nuances of the Gallery of Magick's system, which they kind of elaborate and build upon. So it's got a really good fundamental feel to it. All right, so after that, he goes into, you know, invoking them, and again, beautiful sigils, beautiful process. He goes into invoking them, and some people, you know, there are groups out there, people out there who say, hey, why would you want to call something into you? You know, never invoke, right? They never invoke, because if you don't know what you're calling and allowing to have a presence inside of your body, your mind, your field, it can be dangerous. And I completely understand that, okay? I completely understand that. If you're not comfortable with invoking, then don't. Really, this is about what you feel is right and good for you, and everyone kind of has a different path. So, but for these archangel invocations, the way that I experienced it was that you are almost calling a part of yourself into you that was already there, that you may have forgotten about, to light up a certain part of your personality. So for the way I experience it, is you're not actually calling something outside into you. You're really almost calling attention to a part of yourself that is one of the highest, noblest, best parts of yourself, and saying, hey, part right here, let's shine a little brighter. Let's increase intensity. Let's increase power. And so it's calling attention to certain aspects of your higher self, your personality, whatever you want to call it, and causing those parts almost to flourish and be nurtured. So super amazing that there's certain qualities in yourself that you want to bring out. If there's certain things that you aspire to be, to do, very helpful. And you will also start to be able to experience the reality of being, what an archangel experiences, glimpse in pieces, and you'll start to kind of get things from their perspective, which is super powerful. And I don't think these archangels are just something external or just something internal, just part of our psychology. I think they're pieces of divinity that make up part of our being, and I don't think that we should fear them. I think a healthy dose of respect is in order, maybe appreciation, gratitude, but I don't think fear or adoration or worship is necessary, because you're a human being. When you start to really go down the road of figuring out who you are and what you're capable of, you realize that you're very, very much equal with everything in the universe. And I won't say that you're above it or below it, inside or around it. I would say that you are at the very least, equal with just anything that you're going to come across when you start to kind of figure out who you are. Okay, so invoking has a different process. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sigils. It also, you're, for example, calling the quality of courage, of strength, of emotional self-knowledge. So these are all very holistic, dare I say holy, very balanced, very harmonious things that you're asking for. So when you're asking, again, for something that's really good for you, there's not really a lot of resistance or obstacles. And if you having that thing makes you a better person, which also helps other people, hey, we're, very powerful. Okay, so, and the last part, basically, the last part of the book is evoking. And again, slightly different process, slightly different, processes, chance, mind states, feelings. And really, before I go, I'll kind of end the video on this story of when me and my wife, we evoked Metatron. And basically, in evoking, you are getting yourself into a certain state, a certain vibration, a certain wavelength, and you are calling and admitting, asking, allowing, admitting an archangel to appear in physical form in the space that you're in. And again, it's almost like if all of a sudden you're, I guess it could be described like this. So you want to be prepared, because if you were to walk around the corner and there's a fully grown lion standing there, you just want to be prepared for it. So when you are asking one of these extra dimensional, interdimensional, however you want to describe them, archangels, spirits, one of these gods, you want to make the environment as comfortable as possible for them, which includes getting your self in a state where none of your kind of gunk or garbage or limitations are going to negatively affect them. And the way I look at it is these things are incredibly powerful. These beings, call them what you want to call. You can call them humans. They're incredibly powerful. But we don't know too much about the level of reality that they occupy. The spirit's scratching herself. Yes, baby, I love you. I'll introduce her in another video. I'll show you. Anyway, so if you have this very rare, delicate, powerful being that you've invited into your home, you want to make the home as comfortable as possible. You want to make sure you're not going to waste their time. You want to make sure that you have something that they like possibly to give them, or something to offer, because if you spend all this time and energy calling this super powerful being into your presence, and then you want to be like, hey, who wins the game on Thursday, and you don't even know who's playing, it's just not polite. you know, I'm not saying they get angry, but you want to be polite, you want to be respectful, you want to be courteous. So you go through this chanting, you go through this process where you kind of attune yourself to that level of reality, which makes you a little bit easier to perceive them. It kind of opens up and widens the doors of your perception, puts you kind of 1 foot in that level, and also kind of streamlines the connection, like, hey, I'm here, you know. It like kind of gets their attention. So you go through this process, and we did it. You know, it can take a half hour or an hour, however long it takes, and it kind of goes through what to expect, how to manage your expectations, what does it mean to fully evoke something, like. And the first couple times I did this, you know, you definitely sense them. I could see them in my mind's eye. You know, for example, Haniel was in the room. She was kind of just floating around to have a conversation. You're feeling physical sensations. You're having a conversation in your mind. You can tell there was physically something in the room with you. So I've, you know, done it a couple times, and for this one in Metatron, it was interesting. So Ariel, my wife, was kind of laying on the sofa. I was, you know, basically staring at a space in the wall, kind of going through the process. It was like a Saturday morning, like 8 or 9 in the morning. And we had spent a good deal getting ourselves in a place that is conducive to this sort of thing. So, you know, she first sees Metatron kind of standing over her. And she said, it looked like me, but it clearly wasn't me because I was in the other part of the room. So she kind of gets the first sensation, this first feeling, seeing, oh, there's somebody in the room when he's standing over me. And I had seen, you know, lights and shapes and geometric patterns, and kind of the atmosphere changed. It's almost thickness. It's like texture. The texture changes. A lot of things, your temperature, you feel something, you feel like, oh, this is, you know, it's almost like you're about to go on a roller coaster, or you just took something, you know. So feel that. And then maybe a few minutes later, we hear somebody outside the front door, and for some reason, all of a sudden, somebody's outside our front door, and they are, looks like trimming the bushes, and this is just weird, right? So someone outside the front door. So I go and open the door, and it is this tall, gorgeous looking human being, like archangel, dark skin, and just turns and looks at me. And I look him in the eyes, and his eyes were golden, like golden swirls, almost like you look at like a transformer eyes, like gears, like this golden, just these golden piercing, oh my goodness, wow. And I was like, this is Metatron. You know, a little bit surprised that it worked, and maybe 6-7 feet tall. And you look, kind of looking around, almost like someone like just woke him up. You know, like, how did I get here? Did you call me? You know, just kind of like, you can tell, like, kind of getting his bearings, didn't say anything, looked at each other in the eye. And luckily we had the foresight to have Ariel bless some water, like to make some holy water. It's like a gift, you know, like as we made it before we did it, like, okay, if this works, you know, let's have something we can, you know. And so I was like, hey, do you want some water? My wife just made it. And he shakes his head. So she gets the water and comes up, and we kind of give him the holy blessed water. And he like just drinks it, like just looks around, like gives you like this look of kind of like acknowledgement, appreciation, thanks. And throughout this whole time, there's like a stream of consciousness that we're communicating in. And like kind of, it was time to end the interaction. So have a good day, close the door, and it was wild. One of the most defining experiences of my magical life so far, because there was no doubt in my mind that Metatron physically was evoked, and that was Metatron. And we had a conversation, and from then on, Metatron's been kind of a constant fixture in my life. So yeah, very, very amazing. I will say you don't want to evoke just to test or just kind of see if it's real. You know, you don't want to do things too trivially. It's a very serious thing. It's a very long, powerful, kind of focused ritual. So you kind of want to do it with good intentions. You want to kind of do some sort of purification, some sort of at least getting yourself together. And also it helps if you have a sincere need. I think that archangels in particular are apt to respond very quickly, very well, if you have a sincere need. They're almost like, they're so up high in the spiritual food chain that really your connection with them is best if you have kind of this very burning desire, need to communicate with them, to know them, to have a relationship with them, or something in your life that you really want to fix. And at that point in my life, there was a lot of stuff wrong, and I was completely fed up, willing to, really needing help, really asking for help from God. Hey, send your best people, send whoever, like this is the, so all in all, it was, you know, a very, very successful full evocation into a physical. It will look like, feel like, sound like whatever it is supposed to for you. I'm not saying anybody else would experience it that way. That's what happened that one time. If I were to try and evoke Metatron again, I don't know if it would be the same way. It's all very personal. It's all very unique. But yeah, if you can't tell, very, very powerful. I highly recommend this book. I really am going to do my best to only give you the best of what's worked for me. If there is anything that I find that didn't work that well or wasn't exactly safe, I will tell you, because I really don't want to be anything but good for everyone. But I highly recommend it if you're really looking for a magical manual. If you have a good feeling about archangels, if you're familiar with them and you want to explore more, very practical, very safe, very good. I think it's like 25, 30 bucks on Amazon again. Yeah, just reading it, doing the rituals, it's a wonderful transmission. So I know the video went a little longer than I expected. I'll kind of sprinkle in these book reviews and with other stuff, but wherever you are, I hope that you are happy, you're healthy, you're whole, you're loved, you're powerful, you're special, you're all those things. And thank you for sticking with me this long. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video, commented on the video, everyone who's subscribed. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, comment. My name is Jod. This is my channel. It's pronounced esoteric, esoteric. Still working on it, but I'm glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.